Kere, visitor. You are about to embark on a journey of discovery through the rich and fascinating history of classical Greece. Along the way, exchange words with some of Greece's most famous historical persons. The classical Greece you are about to explore is at the peak of its glory. Architectural marvels which still stand today dot its landscape, while towering achievements in philosophy, political systems, and art still influence our modern society in profound ways. We hope you become engrossed in the dazzling riches of ancient Greece and welcome you to your visit.
Greetings, wanderer, and welcome to the Acropolis, the shining jewel of Athens. Greatest place in all of Greece.
The Acropolis has gone through many changes in its long history. It began as a simple rock, was settled as early as the Neolithic period, and then became a fortress in the Mycenaean period. Stone buildings started appearing in the 7th century BCE. But the famous structures whose ruins remain visible today date mainly from a period of construction in the 5th century BCE. The location of the Acropolis is closely tied with Athens' foundation myth. It was the site where Athena and Poseidon competed for the city's patronage. This connection gave the Acropolis a sacred aura, and it was considered the religious heart of the city.
The great general and statesman Hercules resolved to transform the naturally imposing rock into a huge monument to Athens' political, military, and cultural greatness. Thus began the most ambitious building program the Greek world had seen at the time. Several million drachmae were spent on the whole project, which has been deemed by UNESCO as the supreme expression of the adaptation of architecture to a natural site. The Parthenon alone costs 469 talents, nearly 3 million drachmae, and the equivalent of approximately 12 tons of silver. To justify the massive cost, Hercules cited the need to immortalize Athena's greatness, but also called attention to the jobs the project would create for hundreds of stonecutters, carpenters, metalworkers, painters, and unskilled laborers.
The Temple of Athena Nike was built on the remains of old fortifications from the Mycenaean era. Worship at the temple can be traced back to the 6th century BCE, but the building itself was destroyed during the Greco-Persian Wars a century later. It was rebuilt during the Peloponnesian War. Unusually, the temple depicts historical scenes of battles instead of the more mythologically inclined art of other Greek buildings. The temple's priestess was chosen randomly among the Athenians and received a salary of 50 drachmae annually, along with skins and trophies from sacrificed animals.
The area where the Temple of Athena Nike was built offers a beautiful view of the southern shores of Attica, along with the ports of Piraeus and Phaleron. This noteworthy feature, as well as the Messenian ruins nearby, were the basis for the assumption that the 9th king of the old Athenian dynasty watched the sea from here in the hopes of seeing his son Theseus returning safe and sound from Crete.
The Acropolis was built up over a long period, due in no small part to its partial destruction during the Greco-Persian Wars. It was in the 5th century BCE, though, that the Acropolis received its most significant improvements. This period was an extremely prosperous time for Athens, both financially and culturally. With a booming economy bolstered by trade and the Lavrion silver mines, Pericles, the leader of Athens, financed a huge project to rebuild the citadel. He enlisted the help of renowned artists, like the sculptor Phidias, as well as the architects Iktinos and Callicrates. Together, they erected buildings like the Parthenon and the Propylaea Gateway. Pericles' goal was to make the Acropolis into a glorious monument to the gods and to mortal Athenians.
Ότι ούν αγγεία, μοίρα, τίνα κοσμήματα εκλεκτά, είδα τεχνουργών ποιούντα βασκάνιο, έμπορες άπαντες πολλούς υπαρεμπορεύματα και άπαντες...
Όμοια βλακεία ακούγονται. Προείπουν σύ περί αγγείων, τι να τούτον δίνεντο ανέσπασμένα. Καλό.
Athena Promachos, or Athena who fights on the front lines. That name was reflected in the spear and shield the statue held in its hands. It was erected in the mid-5th century BCE by the artist Phidias. According to an inscription, it took 9 years to make and cost almost 500,000 drachmae. At approximately 10 meters tall, the statue was apparently so large that Pausanias claimed its helmet and spear tip could be seen from the sea near Cape Sunion, 60 kilometers away. The ornamentation on the statue's shield was engraved by the metalsmith Mies.
Athena, who was miraculously born from Zeus's head, was one of the most important deities in the Greek pantheon. In the Bronze Age, she was known as the Theia Geu, who protected the lucrative palatial and household activities such as wool processing. Later on, she became the patron deity of many ancient Greek cities, with Athens being only the best known among them. However, she still kept her place as the protector of artisans, spinners, weavers, smiths, and the like. The goddess had numerous epithets reflecting specific attributes, including Athena Polias, the protector of the city, Athena Ergane, the protector of crafts, and Athena Promachos, fighting in the first rank, which alluded to her worship as a martial deity. She was also conceived as the goddess of wisdom, and her most famous symbol was the owl, which was most often engraved on Athenian coins and painted on faces.
Young girls between the ages of 7 and 11 who were in charge of special rites. A list of 4 girls was drafted by the Assembly of Citizens, from which the High Magistrate, the Archon Basileus, chose 2 for the year. The girls lived in a house on the Acropolis. They were in charge of carrying sacred objects and weaving the peplos of Athena. The peplos was a sacred robe offered to Athena during Panathenaea, a festival held in her honor.
Τραγωδία λαμβάνει τις ιστορίες από
The Erechtheion was an atypical temple. It was dedicated not only to Athena Polias, but also to Cecrops, the mythical founder of Athens, his son Erechtheus, and even Poseidon, the sea god who challenged Athena for possession of the city. The temple was divided into sections. The eastern part housed a statue dedicated to Athena, while the western section jointly belonged to Poseidon and Erechtheus. Meanwhile, King Cecrops' grave was believed to be under the caryatid porch. Under the temple was a crypt that was said to contain the sacred snakes of Athena. The snakes may have had a sweet tooth because the priestesses of Athena allegedly fed them honey cakes.
εξαιρετικό, ευρεσίτεχνο, πολύ ληστή μασή.
Το κούσι αυτής είναι τραπεζίτας. Το κούσι αυτής ότι δίνανται γίγνεσθε αξιοπρεπείς. Η παραμένει ένας και αγοράς ωφελοποιεί γη.
The Parthenon is one of the most well-known buildings in the world and an enduring symbol of ancient Greek civilization. While it is located on the Acropolis, the building is not a traditional temple. It was built by the sculptor Phidias and the architects Callicrates and Ictinus as a great monument to the glory of the city of Athens. That glory is evident in its many carvings. One of the most carved monuments in Greek architecture, the Parthenon's decorations depict several mythological scenes. These include the birth of Athena, her fight against Poseidon for the patronage of Athens, the gods' battle with the giants, and the procession of the great Panathenaea.
Panathenaea, the biggest celebration in honor of the patron goddess of Athens, Athena. It was celebrated every 4 years on her birthday, the 28th of the month Hekatomveon. The final event of the celebration was the procession that carried the new veil of the goddess embroidered with a representation of the Battle of the Giants to the Acropolis Hill. The Parthenon was painted with a variety of pigments, including red ochre, Egyptian blue, azurite, lead red, and conychalcites. Also, due to the seismogenic terrain, the Parthenon had anti-seismic shielding. Despite not even having a foundation, they kept it safe from all the quakes and tremors across the years.
The Parthenon's inner chamber, or cella, contained a massive statue of Athena. Considered to be one of the sculptor Phidias's greatest masterpieces. The statue was chryselephantine, a combination of gold and ivory. To justify the steep cost of its construction, Pericles told Athenians that the statue was a gold reserve, which could be disassembled in times of economic distress. The cella also allegedly contained a pool, whose main purpose was to control the room's humidity, which helped preserve the statue's ivory. Athens' treasury was located in the Parthenon, where it was believed to be protected by Athena herself. The treasury contained objects of great value, acquired from different conquests, as well as a mass of minted silver coins and various offerings to Athena. Pericles also decided to move the entirety of the Delian League's treasure to the Parthenon in 454 BCE. This was a great testament to Athens' power. The riches were divided into two parts, the Demosia, which belonged to the city, and the Hiera Cremata, which was dedicated to the goddess and only used for religious purposes.
It truly is quite something, isn't it? A sacred sanctuary and an architectural marvel, all in one. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.
In ancient Greece, priests and priestesses were either designated or elected from among citizens and clerical families. They performed sacred rituals on special occasions like festivals or when otherwise required. Priests' houses are often linked with the priesthood, but priests did not actually live in them, preferring to stay at their own homes in the city's residential quarter. Instead, the main purpose of the priest houses was to provide priests with a space to carry out their rituals during specific days on the religious calendar. Priests' houses were considered too sacred for the mundane activities of daily life, and priests had to perform purification rituals such as a period of chastity before they were allowed to enter. That is to conclude today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed yourself. Have a wonderful day or night.